Good evening and welcome to the Graham Craig Ruth show. Thank you for tuning in, guys. So guys, tonight I'm joined by Sarah Horgan from the Evening Echo, Amy Jane Sheahan, Shenan O'Mahony and Cailin on Tobin. Guys, tonight's show is sponsored by Verso Fashions and Energy Awareness. Guys, tonight we've a fabulous competition. We've teamed up here with Nsew Media, have teamed up with Verso Fashions to give away 2 lucky viewers a fabulous pair of skinny jeans. Well, ladies, would you be up for winning a pair of skinny jeans?
Definitely.
So guys, to be eligible to win the 2 pairs of fabulous skinny jeans, you need to like this post, tag your lucky partner and share. So ladies, how are we? Thank you for joining me. So ladies, January, or januhairy is what I'm seeing online of late. So januhairy, ladies, what's your thoughts?
So it's like Movember, is it? But for girls.
Well, but from what I'm getting from it, girls are doing it. And fairness to them, it is for charity, but it's like, it is. So like
Leaving everything natural, is it?
Au natural for the month of January. But
Yeah.
from what I've seen online today, it started a lot before January.
Okay.
And they may be jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Like I saw some stuff now today on Instagram that it's like some of the girls have been left in the jungle for 5 years and they took a photo. But what's your thoughts? Is it something that you'd be willing to do, even if it was for charity?
Oh God, I suppose if it was for a charity close to your heart and you had a strong feeling for that charity, I suppose I would. Ideally, I wouldn't like to be that way, but I'd be willing to do it if it was for a good charity, I suppose. But then, like, it means everything. So, oh God, it's a push. I don't know.
What about yourself, Sarah?
Well, I remember years ago, I did a makeup artistry and nail technician course, so that would have been a year. For that whole year, nobody was allowed to. I remember that.
No way.
And if we did shave, we got in trouble. So
Oh no.
it was crazy because people had to practice on each other. I think everyone sort of slipped after a while, but I think anyone who just does things their own way, I think fair play, and that's great. Anyone who does things differently, I think we should admire and respect them. And
No, exactly. I think exactly. When everyone is entitled to their opinion, I suppose that's just like you kind of see the stuff online, you're like, oh, do you know what I think? Oh, but like, Shenan, what did you like? I'm looking at you now, very prim and pristine. Could not see you taking on januhairy.
Well, if it was just your legs, I'd say fair enough, because
No,
you can
it's all
cover them
over.
up. But no, I don't think so. I think it's a hygiene thing we'd look at, number one. Then it's our personal appearance. You don't want to kind of leave ourselves down. We all like to look our best. So it wouldn't be something I'd be...
is it bad hygiene though?
Isn't the hair there to keep you
Perception.
clean?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
But it's like earwax. Is it something that you want?
No. But your earwax isn't hygiene at all.
See, I'm just loving sitting here and I'm even like the ladies, because like it's really yourselves. But so what I love about tonight, so like when we planned tonight's show, we had 3 fierce, fabulous ladies. So we had Sarah, we had Shenan, and then we had Amy Jane, and then sure, why have 3 when you can have 4? So our 4th mystery guest, the fabulous. So guys, some people actually guessed it well online.
They did, yeah.
They really did. Cailin on Tobin, former Miss Ireland 2017. Yep. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much.
How are you?
Fabulous. Do you know what? It's actually funny when I was asked to do it, I was like, ooh, I was like, something to do. And everyone's like, you're not nervous? I was like, sure, why would I be? I was like, I'm just going for a chat, like.
Well, like, definitely not nervous. So you think of like the competitions you've done previously?
Yeah, so like even when I competed for Miss Universe, there's 500 million people worldwide watch it. So like,
oh my gosh.
You're literally going on stage, and like when you go into the audience, I think it was at about 50,000 when I competed in the audience alone. And you literally just have to do tunnel vision. You're like, my mum is out there somewhere.
Focus.
So like, yeah, it is nerve-wracking, don't be wrong. I remember standing inside stage and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to vomit. But then when you do it, then you're just a bit like, oh, I can actually do it. So yeah, it's not too bad.
Fabulous. So Sarah, tell me, how did journalism and writing for the Evening Echo come about?
Well, a few years ago, I just really fell into it. I lost my job at the time, and it was around the time of the recession. So I wanted to make something good of it. So I said I'd write an article about it. And my boyfriend at the time, his sister had written an amazing article. And I said if I could write something even half as good as hers, then power to me. So I came up with an article about losing my job, and it got published, and I didn't expect them to, I was just basically putting it out into the universe.
Did you publish it online on your own
No,
private?
no, the Echo published it.
Okay.
So I thought, this is my first article, and I got a result, so I said I'd keep going. So I wrote a few other rubbish articles that didn't get published, and then I kept building it up, and John Joel in the Echo was very good to me, because he gave me some bit of a chance. And then they eventually just invited me in to come and do the news, and which was a real compliment, because they obviously saw something in me. And initially I was only doing makeup and beauty things, and then I got to do more serious human interest pieces, and it was so interesting. And what's great about the Echo is I've not only found a job that I love, I've also found a family. So it's like having a second family in there, and they're just so nice to me.
That's lovely. And like, you didn't set out to study journalism, or is this like literally when you finished up in your job and you wrote the article? Is that how it came about?
Do you know what? I was a disaster. So I actually remember even I went to do the interview for arts as a mature student. There, it's not even an interview; it's like an entrance exam. And I remember I didn't get it, and I was gutted. And it was actually the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because I wouldn't have been able to do it anyway, because I got the job on the news team with them.
And you have so much to report. So it's like I find at the moment Cork is thriving. There's so much going on in Cork at the moment. Cork is like a really up and coming, exciting city for people to travel to.
It's the real capital.
Yeah, it is. But I find like Joe, like it is really like employment's crazy at the moment. There's so many jobs there for people, and it's even nightlife and everything has improved so much. Like it's supposed to be plenty to report on. So
well, you see, the thing about it is I go to the places where people don't normally go, and you can find the extraordinary in the ordinary, really. So I have one column, it's one small part of what I do, I suppose, where I travel on a bus every Monday, and I chat to the passengers on the bus and ask them all about their life stories and what's happening in their life at the moment, and
That's so cool.
it goes into the column. But the thing about it is, there's few people on the buses, and one or two of them have quite a lonely life, and nobody actually ever thinks of them for anything, or it's just, don't they say the empty vessels make the most noise? So they
you can hear their voice.
It's the people with the people that shout the loudest usually have the least to say, and then the people who come across very quiet at first, they have so much depth. Like there was even one guy who seemed very quiet at first, and I interviewed him on the bus, and I was saying, oh my God, I'm not gonna come back with anything from this. And he told me that he went on a school tour when he was young with his friends, and one of his friends was eaten by a crocodile. And that was a true story.
Like, what do you even respond to something like that? Like, oh, my friend was eaten by a crocodile. Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
I just go, great, that's brilliant. No, I don't. No, there are ways to deal with it, and the thing about it is I never take advantage of anyone. There are some people who have told me the best stories in the world, but I know that they're not comfortable, or I know that I get in trouble when they're with their husband when they get home, and there's all these things that are going against you. I'd only publish something if I was really comfortable.
How many times a week do you publish? Like, do you have is it a weekly column or?
It comes, so I do it at the worst time. I do it on a Monday morning or Monday afternoon when everybody has have you ever gotten the bus on a Monday morning and all these like just sour faces looking back at you? So I do it on the Monday, and then it comes out on the Thursday, and people, the passengers in particular, they all laugh because they see me struggling and nobody wanting to talk to me, and then on Thursday there's always like some really interesting story because I would have met somebody at the 11th hour who would be amazing and would have so much to say. But I think the important thing about that column in particular is that highlights the strength of the human spirit, because it shows all these things that people have been through. Like there's this woman in particular a few years ago, and when I met her, she was on her way to chemotherapy, and she was fairly down about it at the time, but she was happy to tell her story, and it was something different to the whole routine of going to chemo.
I feel like with something with cancer as well, I feel like every family nationwide and across the world, there's always a family that in some way are touched by it. And like it's the one illness, like you can just see what it really takes from someone and how it drains them on so many aspects. Like there's so many families that like probably you guys are probably know someone that's been affected by cancer in some way, so it is really harrowing.
But the great thing about this was that I met her going to chemo and I was still doing it 3 years later, and I met her, didn't recognise her, all her hair had grown back, and she was so happy. So even though it seems to be a big theme, I'm meeting so many people who are suffering from cancer, but I'm meeting them a few years later and they've battled through and they're doing really well. So that's a really good sign. I think that's a sign of the times, isn't it?
Well, that's great.
I'll stop talking now.
So Shenan,
my son was 2.5 and he was diagnosed with hepatoblastoma, so that was a stage 4 cancer as well. Now he's 14.5, he's 6'2", and he's just back from the gym. So like, I mean, you know, there is, every family is touched by it.
And like it is real. But like and I love seeing people that like have really taken it on and have come out the other end as well. Like I'm following a couple of people on Instagram now, and they've like have experienced cancer, and like to see how and it's sometimes as well when they're actually going for chemo and what they're going through, some of them are the most positive, funny, outgoing there people. I'm like, how are you? I would love that positivity and like the way they are, and so positive, and like really taking out like this is not going to beat me mentality. Like it is great that they have that in them. Guys, one thing I like have really been touched by, it goes back to March of 2017, was when myself and my partner got engaged. And sometimes you might find as well, ladies, that sometimes when you get in a relationship, especially women, my friends have told me that a lot of people afterwards say, well, any news? And any news, they mean, well, and to tell us is there a pregnancy or anything like that. So myself and my partner have been getting like, so, well, guys, you're getting married. Is it a thing that you intend to adopt? And I'm massive for it. Ever since a young age, I've always imagined myself having a little girl. So I want to do the frilly dresses with her and everything like that. And so she might be at my makeup drawer, but it'll be really her makeup drawer. So like I've always, and if we have a boy, you know, once it's healthy and everything like that, I'd be happy. But I found this week I went public with it and discussed to see just what people's opinion would be on same-sex adoption. And excellent response to it. But I suppose with anything when you go public, you're putting it out there for feedback, and there was some negative feedback with it. Some opinions were really kind of got to me and struck a chord, kind of really got to me emotionally, but I feel like, so I had to really develop a thick skin with it. I tried to respond to people the best I could, but I just felt there was some people I just couldn't respond to. I think to classify same-sex adoption as child abuse or opening a child to a lifelong of bullying is just utterly appalling and just shows a true representation of non-education. Or we could say that people are old-fashioned or in their ways, but I just think that's utterly appalling. Ladies, what's your thoughts? Start with Sarah.
Yeah, I do think that's appalling. I think that when it comes to adoption, a child should be at the heart of the decision. But I think in just one generation we've come so far, and when it comes to same-sex rights. But if you think about it, it was only in 1993. Somebody has to be Googling, hopefully.
It was only 1993 that it was legalised.
1993 that it was decriminalised. When you just think of that,
I just think that if we did the time warp now, and it was 1993, we'd be doing this live from Mountjoy. Because I'd be in jail. But what about yourself, Shenan? What's your thoughts?
Definitely not. It's ridiculous because, I mean, the adoption system as it is, you know, there's such if a woman wants to have a child, you know, the majority of women can have children. Whereas if a couple, why wouldn't you be able to have kids? You know, you're doing the process. There's so many terms and conditions that you need to go through as any couple, you know, regardless of same sex, or, you know, you have to answer questions, tick boxes. Like, I mean, once a child is looked after, they're holistically, you know, that they're nurtured, they're physically, intellectually, socially, emotionally supported by parents. It doesn't matter if it's male, female, you know, children are the priority.
I find like the biggest thing, I just like, I'm only 25, so and I don't have a child myself, so I can't speak with experience. Like I know ABJ, so we all know you're the yummy mummy at Cork.
Oh God, I don't know about that.
Oh, definitely. But like you've a young boy.
Yeah, I have a little 2-year-old Bobby. Yeah.
Like so, but like I wouldn't personally have done it 10 years ago. I wouldn't have thought it was an area I'd go to. But like I see my child in the future going to school, say with Bobby.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're very open-minded, and the way you're going to raise Bobby will be that if he comes into you and says, "Why does Sophie have 2 daddies?" you're going to be able to give him a response.
Of course, yeah, definitely. As the girls have said, listen, if the child is loved and supported and in a loving, if the couple are in a loving relationship, a loving household, a serious, steady relationship, then what does it matter? That's the most important thing. If the child is getting love and support, then that's all we can ask for any child.
I think that love and support is a massive thing, because my mum, I came from like a lone parent. Like my mum is a single mother, she raised me, and I like the massive thing that I was always had love and support. And like she made, and I felt like, and as well, the older you get, a good education, so clothes, like not your designer clothes, but just clothes on your back, and food and shelter. They're the main things, but I think the massive two are food, support and love.
And morals.
And morals, because they really help you when you get older. Like they can really guide you and let you on your path to live a good life yourself. Cailin, your thoughts?
Like personally, so I'm only 24, so I'm still kind of like that younger age group. So I suppose I am a future mother in a sense, if I'm lucky enough. But like once I'm educated enough to actually tell my children, and I suppose I have, as scary as it sounds, 16 cousins, but like they look at me as an influence as well, and they say, "Cailin, why do boys kiss boys and why do girls kiss girls?" And I actually had this conversation with my friend only yesterday, and her little girl said, "Your friend is gay, ma'am. Does he have a boyfriend? And does he kiss him?" And she was like, she's like, "He's allowed to do it." She's like, "If mammies and daddies are allowed to kiss, 2 boys can kiss and they can be 2 dads." And she was like, "Oh, okay." So like, it just goes to show the innocence of a child. And like you said, Shenan, education, it's so important. Once a child is educated from a small age that women and women can be together, a male and a male can be together, it's so important that we actually educate like our younger children and our siblings and our cousins to make sure that they know it is okay. It's not strange, it's not weird, it's a relationship. They both love each other. And I was actually only looking up today because I was like, do you know what now? I was like, I really want to know what I'm actually talking about. And a gay couple can't actually adopt unless they're together for 2 years. So they have to obviously know one another. They've been together 2 years. So if you're in a relationship for 2 years, you would assume 2 people would know each other well enough to say, I can educate a child and I can bring them up. But not only that, my aunt then was also saying that she has a gay couple who she's friends with, and they're actually in the process for the last 2 years of trying to adopt. So it's not like they can just go into an adoption agency, pick out a child and say, that one will do there, and just take the child home. It's a matter of making sure that they're eligible to actually take care of a child, feed them, house them, educate them, and make sure that they have a loving and educated life.
And it's such a lengthy process for any couple to adopt. So
exactly, yeah.
Like
so,
a friend of mine I know has been trying for nearly 9 years, you know, so this is not something, as you were saying, that's just going to happen overnight. So
It is crazy, but like I do find, like it's society, culture, everything has changed so much. And for me, the only thing I found, and like I don't do blocking on social media or anything like that, but I just had to block the person when they said to me that if you go about this, I categorize it as child abuse. Like child abuse to me is something in a different level of when I hear child abuse, I think it's something totally different.
When you think of abuse, it's physical, it's emotional, like it's complete destruction.
Neglect.
Yeah.
So it's neglect. So like to say that 2 parents are going to essentially neglect a child is absolutely ludicrous. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. Like,
I feel like it's not like I would only go into this like fully prepared, like as in financially prepared, because I do not that you need money to have a child, like a large amount of money to have a child, but you need to be able to make sure the child is cared for, and to do that it does cost money. Like you can't go into a supermarket and get your stuff and be like, so you like nappies cost a lot of money. So I know, Amy Jane, from looking at your Instagram, you're in the middle of potty training Bobby.
Yes, oh my God, I started today. So I was kind of putting it off, so I started today, and we actually did really well. The one thing I found hard though was you kind of have to stay in the house for a couple of days. So today was my first day staying in the house, but I knew I was coming here then tonight, so that was kind of the saving grace. But I have to do it again now tomorrow. But no, we did well, in fairness. We got there in the end today. Just say that rather than getting into too much details. But yeah, listen, it's enjoyable. Like all the stages, I think, of being a mum and raising children is just such a blessing. So like this, it's just like, oh, let's enjoy this. It's exciting. I'm going to look back and say, oh my God, I remember when I was trying to teach you.
Amy Jane, how did the Mummy blog come about?
So basically I did my degree, did my master's. I went working full time for 10 years. And then I met my husband and got engaged, got married. So he had 2 kids already, so I have 2 stepchildren. I have a 14-year-old stepson and a 13-year-old stepdaughter, and then Bobby, who's 2. So basically, I became a stepmom then when I married him, but I was still working all the time. So it was only when I got pregnant with Bobby, my son, that a couple of weeks before he was born, I suppose I stopped working. So essentially, I kind of became a stay-at-home mum of 3 overnight. So it was like, oh my God, massive shock to the system. So I was kind of there. I think Bobby was nearly 1, and I was saying, geez, this is hard. Like, this is brilliant and amazing and lovely, but it's hard. Like, and it's isolating. You know, when your baby's quite young and you have to stay at home. You don't have to stay at home, but you know, you're kind of at home a lot of the time because
I think
it's
it's important though to stay at home for the first initial couple of months, because I think you need that. Like, that's the initial bonding period. So like, I see some people lately are having to go back to work very soon, just after giving birth. Like, would you agree that you need the couple of months at home to do the natural bonding?
You need more than a couple of months. But yeah, so basically I was at home, Bobby was nearly 1, and I was saying, geez, this is very hard. So I just wrote a blog post. The first blog post I wrote was called Becoming a Stepmom, and that was just talking about, just as the title is, Becoming a Stepmom. And I wanted support from other mums, I suppose. I had friends who were mums, but I wanted to create a community, I suppose. So I started my little mummy blog, and ever since then I'm just writing about different things that are happening. Like, say, I'll probably write a blog post now about the potty training or the first day in creche, and really it's ideally it's to help other mums, but it's actually really helps me, because I'm getting these comments going, oh, don't worry, I was the same, this is what you should try, and I'm like, oh, brilliant. So, you know, it's just as much to help me.
What I really like about the Mummy blog is that I feel like it's a real insight to real life parenting. Like, this is it. Like, this is like, to my potty trainer, my child, like, so why can't you do it? Like, to know we're getting there. Like, and it's really, but like, how are you finding inside of incentivizing them? Because I saw you the post up there, you found something in Easton, so is that right?
Oh yeah, so I was looking for, people were saying you do these sticker charts, so you get him a sticker if he's successful. So yeah, I actually bought stuff online, but it didn't come in time, so then I was going sugar, but I actually found stuff in Easton's, and it's a little book just explaining about, this is what we're going to do now, we're a big boy and we're going to use the toilet, and the stickers at the back and everything. So yeah, no, it's great. He's loving it.
So
but the chocolate fingers worked better than the stickers.
They would. I think it would. Or Haribo would have been a thing for me. Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, everybody. Guys, you heard all our opinions there on same-sex adoption. If you have an opinion, may it be positive or negative, please feel free to comment below. We would be delighted to hear your feedback on what you think of our topic tonight. So, Sheahan, how are you?
I'm good.
Good, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
Sheahan, I saw you were at an event there or training over the weekend on Instagram, were you?
Yeah.
How did that go, or where was it?
Up in the Clarion. I'm plus size model, so it's not just
No, but like not
the
skinny one, like fabulous.
Thank you.
Fabulous plus size model.
So I'm joined with an agency. It's called Size Gorgeous Management, and they cater for girls for all shapes and sizes. We're all different with physical appearances, hair, make. You know, everyone has their own look. I like the classic and the retro vintage.
I saw that was
Okay,
some lovely
And,
vintage looks.
I'm lucky enough that I got Elaine Honey Designs to make the dress and the spell for me tonight.
What I see from your Instagram, you love Irish fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing to yourself.
Yeah.
And like wearing clothes from Irish fashionists. And like one thing I saw, like when I hear Hayfield Manor, I go there for my afternoon tea.
Yeah.
But you don't go there for afternoon tea. You go there for like kind of catwalks and kind of fashion shoots.
We had a fashion show. I was asked to do a fashion show, which was brilliant. And it's great to see that how many shops and how many vintage shops we have down here. Like you'd expect you'd have to go to Dublin to get, you know, stuff, and you'd have to go to England or go online shopping. But we have lovely shops down here that I wasn't aware of.
And the events that you did the weekend, what were you up to at that?
It's training for models, so like there's a lot of choreography. Emmett Dillon, he's a male international model and he's from Belfast, so he came down, he does the catwalk, postures, poses for pictures, makeup tips from Erna. She's a makeup artist, so what colours suit you. Sharon McCarthy then is a stylist. She like has a plaque of clothes or different colours, what suits you, like what colours would suit me with my hair colour. If you know, pales and colours and pasty colours don't suit my colouring, so we kind of go for the bolder reds and
And how
blues.
did you come to become such an advocate, say, for plus size modelling?
I suppose I was always a big girl. I was bullied in school, and down to the years then I lost weight in 2000. My best friend was getting married and I lost weight through Slimming World. I lost 4.5 stone, and
Congratulations.
I was working for an auctioneer and I got an opportunity to do a boot camp through him. He had a friend and I went for it. It was to build confidence and ego, you know, that you're comfortable in yourself. And I think later on in life we kind of come to a stage, you know, nobody's going to like us.
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to like
yeah.
us, you know. Someone's going to think we're a mug, you know, like we're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. So that was the kind of thing, you know, once you're happy and you're confident within yourself, and you're there, like, especially for, like, I have a 14-year-old and I have a 10-year-old, and I want them to be happy with themselves and be confident. And if you don't think something is right, don't do it. Do you know? So, like, I mean, you have to be comfortable and confident in yourself before you can do something.
Like, with everything at the moment is, like, I think back in, like, previously we had, like, people wanted to be skinny. But I feel now it's just about being healthy. Like, I've had my own weight loss experience as well, and I don't want people to ever say, oh, you look, you're great, look at you skinny, look at you skinny mini, or I don't want that. I would proud people say, you look great, you're healthy now. You weren't healthy before, because I was very overweight before, but like, I think for like, don't like plus size modelling, I think some people never classify like size 10 to 12 as plus size. Like, that's
Anything
curvy.
over 10,
not.
isn't it?
Yeah, and
Hard.
over 10 is curvy.
Really?
That's shocking. Like,
It's the
to
single
think,
figures or the, yeah.
But it's scary though, because like you're giving these young girls this, like,
Fake.
it's like a fake reality of, oh well, you're a size 10, so you're curvy, you're considered heavy now.
but I
And
know
it's almost
people
like,
are kind of
no,
get
why is
anxiety
anyone
maybe after
categorised?
words of
Yeah.
curvy. Like, so they don't want, like, it's like, but I think curvy is sexy. I think
Oh, yeah,
curvy is
100%.
really kind of, and like a lot of lads that I know with it's curvy girls. Like,
Yeah.
so like you don't want to be going for a salad with someone. You want to be going for a burger. You want, you know, you want to have a bit of fun. Like, it's
But it's great, like, you know, I was told, you know, you'd be a lovely girl if you lost a bit of weight, and I think that's
Thanks
a
a
very
million.
hard thing. You know, you know, you get, oh, you're lovely, you're very pretty if you lost a bit of weight, and it's not a nice thing. You have to be comfortable in
but
yourself.
your response
you know?
should have been, I'm already pretty. I'm
Oh, yeah,
fabulous
exactly.
with a capital F.
But I didn't have the confidence until I actually started doing that with my manager, you know, that she kind of, you know, you're not a bag from Penny's, you're a bag from Brown Thomas. Put some value on yourself, that you want to be there. You're unique. Everyone is unique. We all have our own things. Like, that's a thing with the play school as well, the preschool. You have to be a positive role model, regardless what someone wants you to be. You have to be what you want to be.
Do you know who I really love? And I think she's so inspirational. She's I get such a laugh off her when I see her stuff on Instagram. Is Gemma Collins.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, she's doing Dance on Ice at the moment, and I think like the confidence of her, and like, so when she's like, even when she's doing photo shoots and everything, like, I really admire her. But when I'm watching America's Next Top Model as well, I love Ashley Graham.
Yeah.
She is like, to see the career that she's had.
Yeah.
So like, definitely plus size is the way. plus size is fabulous, and if anyone that doesn't think it, then they
She's
can.
the first model as well to be Sports Illustrated. That was plus size.
Yeah.
I remember looking at it. I was more attracted to her than I was to all the skinny girls. I was like, she's a woman.
Yeah.
But she does the presenting as well at Miss Universe, and I remember her backstage, and she was like, "Give me curves," and I was like, "I'll give you curves, girl, no bother." But I literally was standing there, and I was like, "I'm actually weak for you." I was like, just to look at you and see your career, that you're not the stereotypical size 0 model, and I was like, "Jeez," I was like, "If I could have half what you have, I'll take it."
Who is Ashley Graham?
Oh, she's a judge on America's Next Top Model, but I love, like, she's someone like that, like you'd want to follow. She's she's really inspirational. She's very
gorgeous.
motivating as well. And she's just a natural beauty. Like,
Was
she's
that the
utterly
woman
stunning.
who was on the front of Cosmopolitan?
Yeah.
Who was the God, she looked amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Colleen.
Hello.
When I said, I was like, I'm utterly appalling to the Irish language. Like, actually, wasn't my thing.
Majority
in
of
school.
Ireland is,
The only thing
unfortunately.
I knew was how to ask to go to the toilet in Irish. And
Yeah.
that was my biggest thing. Did ordinary level Irish in school and everything like that. So, like, obviously we all knew you were a mystery guest, but like I knew you were coming on. I was like, even when you're chatting to your mum earlier on, I was like, is it Colleen on any trouble? And she was like, yeah, she was helping me, but no, and I know the Irish language and speaking the Irish language is something that you're really passionate about.
Yeah, so when I grew up, if you were to learn your 1, 2, 3s, you learned them in Irish. So I didn't actually go to preschool or anything. My granddad was at home and he taught you everything you needed to know, from a chair that was a cothier and your shoe was a brogue, and it was great because it really just gave me like the passion of Ireland. And it sounds so like, God, you're such a cheese bag, but like I absolutely love Ireland. And everyone's like, yeah, but it's Ireland, like, and I'm like, yeah, but it's like, even when I went to Miss Universe, I was like, yeah, but it's home. And it's so funny because when you're talking to like Irish people about home, you're like, ah, God, stay to the place. But you go abroad, then you're like, it's the Emerald Isle and it's amazing, and there's this and there's the Gaeltacht, and it's so upsetting to think that we don't like enjoy it at home as much as we do. So yeah, no, I speak it fluently. My godson speaks it and he's only 4, and then all my cousins do as well. So it's great though, because I left school a few years ago, and like you kind of lose it a bit. And I remember as I started to like lose a bit of Irish, I was like, oh no, I was like, this can't go. So every time my cousins are at home, I talk to them in Irish. So like it keeps it slightly there. But no, I'm extremely confident to be able to speak it. And I done an interview with Dahi O'Shea recently, and it was so weird how it just came out of me. It was unreal.
But it's great identity that we have as well, because I send my boys to the Gael School, and I just found it's nice to have our own identity, and it is. We don't want to lose it. I remember we were in transition year and we went to France for our school tour. We spoke more Irish over there than we did English, because they were we did. Yeah.
What about yourself, Amy Jane? Would you give us a few words in Irish?
No, I leave that, I think, to Colleen. No, I wouldn't be. I lost it. Obviously, I did my leaving cert, and you just lose it. So I really admire you keeping up the.
But there's a saying even in Irish, and it's Tirgan Changa, Tirgan Anam. So basically what it means is a country without a language is a country without a soul. Oh. And the language essentially is the soul of who we are. It was essentially beaten out of us. But like, imagine going to Spain and no one speaking Spanish. Yeah. Imagine going to France and no one speaking French. Their language is essentially at the essence of who they are, and they speak it so beautifully. So it's so upsetting then when you look at our culture and our heritage, and there's only about 40,000 people speak Irish. Yeah. And it's like there's like 5.2 million of us. Jesus, like there's like 5.2 million of us, and only a small percentage of us speak it.
Like I find, like especially with like I've seen other people before push the Irish language, and it's usually older people. But like actually, like I look at yourself, very young, very current, Miss Ireland, and to be so passionate about the Irish language. So I hope that you do draw the up and coming generation towards it, because I really feel like we're only doing it in school because we have to. And I think if it was optional, a lot of people would decide not to do it. Exactly. Yeah.
There's actually a page on Instagram, it's Essential Irish, and the woman that runs the page, her son is I think he's only going into first year. And I've never seen a young fella to be so proud to be able to speak Irish. But like the whole of like Christmas in 2019, and you know, you do all your like throwbacks and whatever, and he put something up because I commented on something, and he was like, "This is so cool," and I was like, I was just happy to see someone young speaking Irish. But it's great to see like small pages like that help people, but they go through like basic Irish for like mums or like doing their homework and stuff, and it's really cool. And I was so happy to see it because I was like texting my aunt, I was like, "You need to follow this page." So yeah.
So Cailin, Miss Ireland 2017,
Yeah.
what an achievement to walk away with the crown. How did that come about?
So when I was in secondary school, believe it or not.
Only a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but like when you're like 15, 16, that's 10 years ago, and it's weird to be able to say 10 years ago now. I'm like, ugh. But I like, you'd say hi to me and I'd be like, "Hi, oh my God, you're talking to me." So like when I was younger, the idea of even doing modelling or any form of public speaking was a massive no. And I remember when I was going for Miss Cork at the time, I remember saying to Mum, I was like, "I'm going for Miss Cork." And it followed by, my friend is doing it too, so at least I have support. So like it wasn't a matter of I'm doing it because I want it, it was a matter of my friend's doing it, so I'm going to do it too. So I did it one year, and my friend dropped out because she was going away, she got a job, so I had to do it because my sponsorship was paid. And I remember I won, and I was like, oh. And my competitive streak then came out, and I was like, right, I was like, this is mine. I was like, I'm going to do Miss Ireland. I was like, I'm going to win. I'm going to go to Miss Universe. I'm going to be unreal. And I remember I didn't win Miss Universe that year, and I was devastated. So I was like, nah, I was like, forget about it. I was like, I'm not doing it again. I was like, no, not happening. And then I did it in 2017 when Brittany Mason took it over, and I was like, she is like a boss. I was like, I want to be like her. And it's so weird because in 2017, like I look back at when I won, and like, yeah, I was confident, but like in the whole year, like I literally grew as a person. And my mum looks at pictures, and I even look at pictures, and I'm like, I grew up so much. I gained so much self-confidence. I literally just, it was like someone lit a fire underneath me and was like, right.
And you've done a lot of
You're gonna
travelling
do
with
it.
it as well, haven't you?
Yeah, so I've travelled all over Ireland. So I worked really close with Pieta House because my attitude is, and the attitude of the organisation is, it's all well and good being a pretty face if you can't physically or actually do something. So my platform for the year was mental health, and I mainly focused on suicide because I was so close to so many people who've attempted it. And I myself was going through counselling in school because I suffered really bad with my nerves because I was so nervous, to the point where I literally was like, I don't want to be in school, don't want to be here. I had to make any excuse to take a day off. And I was kind of like, right, I need to just figure out where I'm going and what I'm doing. And for the year then I was like, no, I need to take my experience and actually speak about it. And I remember speaking about it, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm telling people this.
Well done.
So I took it on board, and I was like, do you know what, I'm going to work with Pieta House. So did talks with them, and I do the Darkness into Light every year. And it's all, I remember my first year and I got emotional. I was like, why am I crying?
So I
But
feel like
it's-
when you do something
Yeah.
and you've that attachment to it, or you've that experience with it, the emotion
Oh yeah,
is
but
just
it's
kind of
just
come and it
amazing
comes
to
out of
see
nowhere.
like people that aren't affected by it. And I think at this stage, so many people are affected by mental health. We all suffer with our mental health. Like there's 1 in 9 suffer with their mental health yearly. But the one thing that scared me the most was I was looking at stats and figures, and it was like for every 100,000 we have, I think it's 14 or 15 teenagers between the age of 13 and 18 commit suicide, which brought it right up to 672 teenagers a year committing suicide or attempting it. So I was like, what? I was like, my brother's only a teenager. I was like, this can't happen. And then my cousin turned 18. I was like, she can't. I was like, she needs to be okay. So I was
really
like,
set off a passion in you
yeah,
that you were like,
so
I
like,
want to do
it
something
literally,
about
I
this.
was like, this can't be happening. Like, people need to be educated about well-being. They need to know self-confidence. They need to trust themselves to be able to speak about it, that they're not on their own. And I remember going back to my secondary school to give a talk, and it was so funny because everybody was like, sure, look at your one strutting in her heels and her dress. And I was like, no, because I was like, I can actually take my crown and my sash off, and I'm literally just a normal girl. I can put on my runners, which I do on a daily basis, have my hair on top of my head and wear no makeup. But I was like, we all have to figure out a pattern of how to deal with it. Like, some people have cognitive behavioural therapy. Some people find comfort in their family and friends. So the whole year I went around and did talks about mental health, and I was extremely fortunate to have Pieta House on my side because I was able to get so much information from them.
Brilliant, yeah.
And then when I went to Miss Universe, and everybody's like, sure, you're all just a load of dolls that get dolled up. But I remember Miss Venezuela was a mechanical engineer, and she worked with people in the slums and everything. And I was like, lads, I was like, you can't all be pretty and educated and do amazing work. But it was so amazing to actually be surrounded by people that were pretty and all that. And like, I think people need to drop that stereotype that you're just a pretty girl.
I've noticed a lot of that because like we had our Christmas special just before the Christmas, and Aoife O'Sullivan was on Miss Ireland, and there's so much more. And even I've met you now tonight, Cailin, and there's so much more. People have this pageant girl perception, and there's a lot more to anyone. You can't
when you look at the States, like you see Miss America and Miss USA, and Miss America, it is a pageant, but it's actually a sponsorship program. And basically what they do is when you win, you get a huge grant for your education. So it's basically to put you through your education. If you have bills and so on like that, like it puts you through your education. And like there's girls that have been solicitors, doctors, everything. Like the current Miss Universe, she works in the slums in Tondo, Manila, but she's done like 4 years of education. She's highly educated. The first runner-up was like an actual doctor. Like even Miss Universe Ireland this year, Grania, she's a nurse. But she's working as a nurse as well as doing all her things for Miss Universe. And she's hoping to open a clinic in her local just for women because of the whole scandal with the cervical checks. So like you're looking at women and everybody sees this perception of blonde, tan, eyelashes, hair, makeup, when you can literally strip all that back and actually look at their education and their background. Like I've gone to college and did psychology. So like I actually do have somewhat of a brain in my head, believe it or not. But people have this perception of pageants where it's just these prim and proper girls and that it's literally just this photocopy every year. But last year we had 30 girls and I think there was like 2 or 3 girls that were plus size. Then there was some girls that were like 6'3", and then there was other girls that were like 5'2". So like we don't want this stereotypical 6 foot tall girl who's thin, beautiful, stunning. We want a woman. We want an Irish woman that represents not just your pageant girl, we want someone that represents all of Ireland. Like plus size models, I absolutely adore plus size models because I think it's such a representation of Irish culture that we're not just skinny girls. We have curvy models, we have skinny girls, we have short girls, we have tall girls. And it's amazing to see that we have that diversity in it because I think it's appalling when people say you can only be skinny and be a model and tall. No. It's so wrong.
Well, like, I think that's the massive word is diversity, and I think life, culture and the world we live in today is massively diverse, and I think in order to live that life that the world has become, you have to, even the older generation are going to have to diverse some way and come to the change of the times, because plus size modelling is only going to get bigger and bigger. You're a massive representation of fashion, and you see massive modelling shows around the world with judges that represent plus size modelling and the careers that they have, and then you see yourself, Cailin, and the success you're having. So everyone can have success in their own field. And there's plenty of success out there for everyone to achieve. Ladies, the time has flown.
It has.
I know, it's time for the end of the show. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Ladies' night, girl, I was in my element. For my 4 fierce, fabulous ladies, all in their own right. Thank you so much for joining me. Guys,
thank you.
You heard it all here tonight. So it's like from Miss Universe to same-sex adoption to januhairy. So it was really squeezed a lot in tonight. Guys, don't forget as well about our great competition. Verso Fashions and ourselves here at Nsew TV have teamed up to give 2 lucky viewers a fabulous pair of skinny jeans. And I'm envious that I can't enter the competition. So guys, to enter the competition, you need to like this post, tag your lucky partner and share. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, guys. Tonight's show is sponsored by Verso Fashions and Energy Awareness. See me back here again next Tuesday at 8:30 for the Graham Craig Ruth Show. Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies.
Ooh,
thank you. So guys, that's it, done and dusted.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Thank you
so much.
Stay here for another